right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm loving the new intro music. Yes, I said it. I know you guys can't hear it on the YouTube. I'm going to fix that for you pretty soon. But for all those listening on the podcast all around the world, hola, bonjour. Welcome. Glad to have you here on this July 6th. 2021. It's beautiful, beautiful day, guys. Beautiful, beautiful day. We're going to be moving into NBA Finals, Game 1, Bucks at the Suns. I'm a huge basketball fan, as you know. I think I lost a lot of listeners because I talked about basketball a lot. Hey, that's okay, baby. That's why I'm a fantasy basketball champion as well as a fantasy football champion. And it's been good. It was a great fantasy basketball year. I've been doing really great on DFS, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. But normally, on today, it's Target Tuesday. As we get into the season, you're going to roll around. They're going to have waiver wires. Tuesday's kind of a big day. Just to hint, where did the wise, man? If you are in either way, like a rotating worst record to first, non-rotating, you sit on that waiver wire when you finally get a player that comes up. If you waited long enough, you get the one guy, right? An advantage in this system, and what I have to do, because of the leagues, my league of record, and it's really competitive. All right, and all your leagues of record should be competitive because you know those people and you've got rivalries. And that's something we'll be talking about is how fun it is to have rivalries in fantasy football. But I have to get up at 3 a.m. to go check after the waiver wires have cleared. All right, to see if I can pick up somebody for no cost. No cost. Like, I know you auction guys are like, oh, that's crap. You should have to be put. Man, in auction, you can put in $0 and get anybody a lot of the times. It's just a strategy I'm trying to tell you, because what did I tell you I'm here to do? I'm here to help you win. All right? If you're not willing to get up at 3 a.m. in the competitive league to go look at some free agents on the board and go back to sleep, then you're not doing what it takes to be a champion. All right, I'm not saying every league like that. I'm sure there's a lot of leagues out there that are just half-hearted players, kind of fugazis, doing it because their friends asked them to, and that's cool. All right, I'm really appreciative for those people too. But to beat the ones that want to win, to get to the championship, you got to do more. You got to do what Vince Lombardi did. Why do you think he made him do Green Bay Packers and do all kinds of, for those that don't know, Packers is kind of like an up-down or a burpee or something like that, right? He pushed them to the point of there they didn't want to be pushed. And you got to be able to do that. Thing about fantasy football is there's not a coach there pushing you. It all comes from right here internally. And you're going to have to be able to be the one to do that. Now, that might be an extreme example for some, but you need to be checking it. On Tuesdays, I'm going to be giving you the players. Lock it in for your auction. Lock it in for your waiver locks. And then, Wednesdays will come around and be like, go snag this person, go snag this person. But if you're not willing to say, well, I want to kind of sit on my waiver, we'll get up at 3 a.m. and see if this person's still there. And then you can have them for free, right? A little hack code. I'm sure waivers cleared all kinds of different times in the leagues. That's how ours cleared for over 10 years, and this changed. It's not changing. It's staying that way. But we're going to be basically talking about players today throughout the season. Players you should pick up for waiver wires. I'm about to talk to you about some players I'm seeing going by super late in best balls and in drafts right now as they happen. Maybe you can target some of these later guys or break down that. And then we're going to spend about 5 minutes talking about the NBA Finals. Like I talked about, I love it, I love it, I love it. All right. So these are some of the players that I've noticed personally that are going late. I'm going to start off with my favorite one, man, because he's going in he's averaging like 140 something draft pick. Let me tell you something. McKissic is a stud. As somebody that picked him up last year that had Gibson for a little bit, McKissic, I'm a trade master. I ended up trading McKissic to the team that beat me in the championship. How do you think that feels, right? That should tell you what you need to know about McKissic. The two guys that had him in a 16-team league went to the championship game, right? And our cutoff for our trade deadline is like right around Thanksgiving, always a little bit before. We kind of like to let people trade. But let's go back and look at some of this. It was he was amazing. He didn't put it on. That's the thing. Every year, these players, we can nail the draft. We can think we did awesome. We can be setting up in these like little small 8 or 10 team leagues. And you just think, oh my God, I did it. Look at this roster. Or you can be in a 16-team leagues like I like to play where there's not much people out there. Everybody's about rostered. There's still going to be somebody every year that's not rostered in 99% of leagues that's going to bust out, right? So we just got to stay in tune for that, man, and be ready for what's happening, so to speak. And let's, go look at it. I just wanted to look at McKissic real quick kind of look at what he did in the championship game. I mean, he was tearing it up for PPR leagues, especially. Our league of records not a PPR league, not even a half-point PPR league. But, okay, look here. Week 16, McKissic, 15 rushing yards. Big deal, he's a running back. 77 receiving yards and 1 reception touchdown. Good enough for 15.2. I had Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry. You know what they did that week? Derrick Henry, 98 rushing yards to Green Bay. Man, they just whooped their butt. They didn't give Derrick Henry much a chance. 98 rushing yards, 9.8 points. Josh Jacobs, 69 rushing yards, 6.9 points. All right. And then I had Jeff Wilson in my slot. He did really well, 183 yards, 21 receiving, 1 touchdown. But McKissic, who I traded to Houston Dankheads, a new rival for me. No, just kidding. He's been a long rival. We've been playing together. We are 2 or 3 teams that have put in every player every week for over 10 years. That's pretty special. That, you know, that takes a lot. But McKissic, guys, you guys are sleeping on him. Don't be. I was making a mistake of drafting him a little too early because, you know, when you look at rankings, he's like 30th or 31st, 28th, 29th. And then people aren't drafting him to the 140th pick. And he could be a PPR machine, especially with Ryan Fitzpatrick dumping stuff off in the flats and in the curls and all those little spots that McKissic is going to be lining up. It's all about Gibson, and rightfully so. He's a great running back. But if you remember, he got hurt last year. Who stepped it up? McKissic. And even when Gibson came back, it was that 1-2 backfield punch. It is very lethal. McKissic. Remember him. Draft him earlier than what you're doing. I think I have him in all. I think I've probably done. I think I did the count. I've done about 11 best ball drafts already. And McKissic, I think he's on 10 of 11 of those teams. All right. Don't be scared to go pull the trigger on McKissic. He's a player you need to be targeting. All right, another one, switching it over to the tight end. Hey, guys, we all know Russell Wilson loves his tight ends. What did he do with Hollister? What did he do when he had a little bit of Olsen? What was that other tight end that just kind of popped out of nowhere for the playoffs? Jimmy Graham had one of his best years in Seattle. Russell Wilson will feed it to the tight ends. Let me tell you something. You got DK on one side and Tyler Lockett on the other. You got the new rookie, Eskridge or whatever. He's going to be lining up somewhere in there too. But when you have one of these guys on the outside is named Tyler Lockett, and one of these guys on the outside is named DK Metcalf. 1,000-yard receivers, touchdown monsters. Gerald Everett is going to be open in the middle of the field so freaking much, man. And he's about to become, maybe he's not going to have the greatest yards, not too many tight ends do, but if he ends up with 9 touchdowns, 400 yards, and you can get him with the 15th, 16th round pick, my goodness, what are you waiting on? Let's go get this guy, man. I mean, because let's think about this. The Seahawks are going to be good, I think. The NFC West is kind of like all over the place. You got people like, the Rams are going to be unstoppable. They're going to, Matthew Stafford's 100 times better than Jared Goff, who's played in a Super Bowl. I was like, what? I don't see the upgrade there, but a lot of people are up there on the Rams, right? And you got the 49er truthers. The 49ers are coming back. I think they could be the worst team in the division, right? But some people think, they're coming back to the NFC Championship. They got the running games established. They got Kittle back. They got Bosa back. They're going to wreck shop. Well, then you got people like me that are like, man, Arizona Cardinals, it's got to be their time. It's kind of put up or shut up for Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury. They got to do well now, or all the questions and all the doubts and all those things are going to start happening, which you don't need, all right? And Kyler Murray's coming up kind of at the end of this year. He'll probably be able to renew his contract or figure out what they're going to do with him. It's going to be very, very difficult. That's a loaded defense over there in Arizona. But how do you doubt Russell Wilson? I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I've seen him for a decade now, just wreck shop, bring his team back from things they have no business doing, watch them make awful play calling, awful head coach and execution in the first half, only to let Russell Wilson do all the work in the second half and bring them back. They didn't get very many draft picks, so they're going to have to rely on what they have and what they were able to bring in to secure them into a playoff spot. I do not like doubting Russell Wilson. I think he's amazing. I don't think the Seahawks I think they will be one of the 7 teams in the playoffs. Let's put it that way, all right? So Gerald Everett, another tight end you can get super, super late. And I think he's going to have a great year. All right, now just hear me out on these next one because I got a few trio of Houston Texans. I got Philip Lindsay. I'm a homer. I know I live in Colorado. I love Philip Lindsay. So take that with a grain of salt. And it's Nico Collins as well, rookie wide receiver for Houston. And then Tyrod Taylor, man. You can get these guys. Well, Lindsay's going a little bit kind of mid to late. mid to late early rounds. Okay, he is a running back. He's a 1,000-yard running back, multiple season 1,000-yard running back. So you just got to watch it. It's still like James Robinson and him aren't getting the respect they deserve. Now he's got David Johnson in front of him. What I've been doing in best ball is trying to lock up both of them. I've locked up the Houston backfield. Mark Ingram's there. I don't think he's as much as a factor. I think he's just kind of maybe a goal line, short yardage kind of guy. With Nico Collins, though, they're loaded. They got Cobb. They have Cooks. Who else do they have? They still have Kenny Stills. They have Aikens at tight end. But Nico Collins is their big guy. And Brandon Cooks is drawing a lot of praise on him. And I'm somebody that's been really high on Brandon Cooks his whole career. He's had over 1,000 yards and from 3 different quarterbacks. I don't know how many people have done that in the NFL, 100-year history. Not many. But Brandon Cooks has said it. And then Randall Cobb came out and said something that Nico's looking like a professional as well. That could be a lot of his attitude, the way he practices. And all those things matter, right? But the truth is, I think Houston's going to be down a lot late in games. I think they're going to be passing a lot and often. And I think Nico Collins could be a steal. And let me tell you a little secret about rookies, guys. Some of them hit the ground early, like Justin Jefferson. We all know about that. Some of them hit the ground a little later. It takes them about a month and a half, 2 months to figure out the playbook, to develop rhythm with their whole team, because football is a rhythm sport, man. That's the most important rhythm sport there is. If you're off rhythm, if your tackle and your quarterback and your tight end aren't in sync, guess what? That whole left side of the line's busted now, all right? And it's no different from wide receiver. It's probably even more so with the steps and the rhythm and the cadence and so forth. And speaking of that, Tyrod Taylor, man, I do not think Deshaun Watson's going to play this year. It might be a bold take. I see him going pretty early. I see him going often. Tyrod Taylor just hangs around to like the last round. I hope karma comes back for Tyrod Taylor. He's been done wrong. So, I spoke about it yesterday. Cleveland, San Diego, or LA, excuse me. You can go on and on. And maybe this is his opportunity not to go to the playoffs or something like that, but to play 16 games and have a meaningful season. And he's a pretty daggone good quarterback, especially if you're in rushing quarterbacks. He's older now, but he's still got the wheels to take off and get 7-8 yards when he needs to. So I kind of just think that's a very interesting Houston trio combination. Phillip Lindsay, you can score a backup running back for not much, and David Johnson has a history of being hurt. So let's just look at those Houston Texans trios. Last one I'm noticing, it's another rookie, Amari Rodgers. I know everybody's worried about Aaron Rodgers coming back, not coming back. Even if he doesn't, I think they got him for that style of offense. Think of Brandon Ayuk, think of Deebo Samuel. They're going to utilize him in a lot of ways, and he's going almost all the way in the back of the draft as well. Don't expect much the first 2 or 3 weeks, but he could really step himself up in front of Lazard. He could step himself up in front of Marquise Valdez-Scantling. He could step himself up in front of Devin Funchess. They're going to use him very creatively, and I think he could be a championship winner later down the road. All right, so those are some of the players that we're going to be targeting. You're going to see the show like that. We'll be more specific when we're talking about waivers and they get going. But up until that point, I'm going to be talking about draft targets that I think you need to get. Particularly this round was just kind of late round picks, people you can steal in the draft and they can become big influences on you, particularly McKissic, Everett, Tyrod Taylor. All right, so just keep an eye on that. Rookies, I expect them to help you when they get back late. All right, guys, let's get back to what I have been doing the past month. The Bucks at Suns, Game 1, NBA Finals, baby. Are you freaking kidding me? So pumped. I want to call Phoenix a small market team, but they're not. It's Phoenix. They have 3 or 4 professional teams there. It's a huge freaking city, lots of population, but it's not like the prototypical NBA team. And as Booker pointed out, Devin Booker, everything else in the state, like it used to be the Phoenix Cardinals. I'm old enough to remember when it was the Phoenix Cardinals, but it's no longer that. It's the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Arizona Coyotes, I believe, and then you have the Phoenix Suns. It's the Phoenix Suns, all right? Milwaukee Bucks, another small market team. I've never been to Milwaukee. I've never really been to the northern Midwest at all. It seems like I always think of Laverne and Shirley, I don't know the theme song, but get it going in your head. Banana, 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 banana. That was probably awful rhythm for it, but for those that remember Laverne and Shirley, you know what I'm talking about. But we got the Bucks at Suns, man. 2 kind of smaller market teams. No LeBron, no Kevin Durant, no D Wade, no Tim Duncan, Kobe's. But you do have back-to-back MVPs and Giannis. It's just like Giannis is nobody all of a sudden. I don't get it. The media wanted to hate him so bad. I told you the kind of world racism here in the United States within the media is kind of bad. They'll pump him up, but they always want their American guys to do it, and I get it. But you gotta call a game where you see it. and Giannis is special. I don't care what people are. It's so weird because of these. I'm trying to block out the media more and more. But if you listen to them, there's this rhetoric. You can find it everywhere. I've pointed out these stupid idiots. They're on major platforms. All right. Well, we've seen that there's a flaw. The Bucks have fallen into a trap. They're better without Giannis than they are with him. What? Who the hell is better without a two-time back-to-back MVP 3 seasons removed? He's won 2 MVPs in the past 3 seasons. And you're trying to tell me a team is better without him? Well, let me tell you what the bookies think. The bookies think that they are way worse without him. Much worse without Giannis. And the bookies ain't trying to cover you up or kind of create some kind of emotion. They're there to win money, baby. And you need to listen to their advice, because if you listen to these guys on FS1, ESPN, NBC, all these guys that just talk to kind of create and stir emotion and make your betting go wrong and make your emotions get all flared up. Just don't listen to those guys, because the bookies are telling you, hey, this should be the Suns. The Suns should have this pretty easy, because it went from the Bucks. I could have cashed out on my finals and made 4 times as much as I put in, right? 4-1 recovery. I mean, I can obviously win way more than that if they win, but they were willing to give me 4-1 in Game 5, right, with Giannis still playing. When it came to Game 7, and we kind of knew that the Bucks were going to win, I told y'all or Game 6, and I knew they were going to win in Atlanta. The bookies didn't feel that way, right? But they did. But immediately after, now my cash out, the Bucks advance. So technically my cash out should be more. But with them feeling the same way about I do with Giannis, that he's a stud, my cash out went to barely over 2 over 1s, right? Dropped almost 100% down from what they were going to pay me. All right. So the bookies are indicating the Suns are going to dominate this game. The media is trying to tell you, well, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, they've been really putting it on. They've been really showing their game without Giannis. That's a bunch of bullshit, man. You need Giannis in the finals. You need somebody that's going to bang with Ayton, because once you have Lopez and Giannis, the Suns are going to be really hurt. And Crowder's a great defender, but he can't stop Giannis. He's too small. He's too short. He's a 3-ball. He's a great defensive guy on the perimeter. He can't get down there in the paint and bang. They're going to ask a young Ayton to do that all without Giannis, all right? That's kind of doable without him. When Giannis comes back, forget about it. Middleton and Drew Holiday don't have to worry about getting into rhythm, because it's going to be attack the paint, because the Suns don't have anybody. They haven't played against anybody in this playoffs that is like Giannis, even if he's healthy or if he's not healthy. Oh, well, LeBron, well, he wasn't. He was kind of showing off out there in the end, doing that whole back thing, remember? And Andre Drummond couldn't do it. George PG-13 was looking all right, but not great. All right, he's no Giannis. And then the Denver Nuggets were just completely wore out from last year. Jokic he's great, but he's not Giannis. He's quick, he's smart, whereas Giannis does that little backup, kind of like a counter, like a running back counter move, like that little reload. Like, I've always loved watching running backs do that. And Giannis kind of does it on the basketball court, where he kind of, all right, I see you, I'm going to take 2 steps back, boom, and it just times it, and he just comes through the paint and slams it and wrecks shop. It's great. All right, let's get to the game lines real quick. Once again, the bookies have this at -6 spread for the Suns. -114, -108 for the Bucks to cover the +6. The over-under, 218.5. Without Giannis, I think that over is good. If you want to hammer the over, go try it. The bookies are telling you the over is a little better odds, with -112 to -109 for the under. Money line, the Bucks at +205. When I put in a bet 3 days ago, it was +185. They've moved it to +205. It's looking good. But for the Suns, it's at -250 at DraftKings. If you feel like the Suns are going to win Game 1, like 99% of the media and everybody out there, the Suns have been boosted to +100, probably a $50 max. If you want to do it, go to DraftKings, place that bet. You're feeling good on the Suns like everybody else, do it. I went with the Bucks, and it's just something I haven't wavered from. The Suns have had a lot more of a rest, but I just think the Bucks are kind of in a better rhythm right now, and I think they're going to come into Phoenix and surprise everybody and win Game 1. That's my personal opinion. You take it for what it's worth. For the series to win, I went back and looked at it. Of course, when I placed the Bucks series to win, it was like at +700, +800 or something. They did go down to +165. They were last in the conference finals. The Bucks were the head favorite. They were -150, -160. I saw sometimes. Which is one of the few ones with only 4 teams. Now the Phoenix Suns, according to the bookies, -200 to win the series, +165 for the Bucks. So keep that in mind. I've looked at some of the player props They do have Giannis out there. Just be careful. He's doubtful. I would try to stay away from it. They just took him off of the double-double. That makes sense. The double-doubles, I do want to talk about. Chris Middleton's at plus 145. Chris Paul's at plus 120. Brook Lopez plus 400. You would think a center would get 10 rebounds so easy, but Brook Lopez just does not get 10 rebounds. He hangs around the three-point line. Way too much for that. Bobby Portis is actually at negative 103. Drew Holiday at negative 105. And, of course, DeAndre Ayton at negative 225 because he's going to get 15, 16 rebounds. Doesn't matter. But I do like Chris Middleton. Let's look at the game log real quick before we kind of wrap it up here. At Atlanta, he's had... I know his lowest point total has been 15. And then we get into rebounds, 4. He's had 13, 11. Assists, he's had 8, 8, 7. So it could be a little bit of a push. I think they're saying DeAndre Ayton is going to get a lot of rebounds. But I kind of think Chris Middleton's got a shot to get those 10 rebounds. He only averages 6 per game. But he's been playing with a lot of tenacity, getting after it. It's kind of just one of those angles that, I kind of feel good about with that. Let me look at PRAs real quick. Drew Holiday, 37.5. Chris Middleton, 41.5. Bobby Portis, 27.5. Jay Crowder, 18.5 points, rebounds, assists, negative 105. That's very interesting. The unders at negative 122. The highest odds I see on over or under is that at negative 122 for James Crowder on the under. So keep that in mind for your PRA. Let's look at rebounds real quick. Guys, I love to look at rebounds. I follow that stat quite a bit. See, they got Middleton's rebound line at over 8.5 at plus 112. They're telling you that they don't think he can get those 2. His negative is 143 on the rebound front. That is really good. The only one I see with better odds off the top of my head, Chris Paul under 4.5 rebounds is at negative 155. That's kind of interesting to me. Bobby Portis over 9.5 is at plus 105. So instead of taking Bobby Portis double-double at negative 108, if you think he's going to get that double-double, he's going to get it with rebounds, not assists. And over 9.5 is at plus 105. So just take that plus 105 on the rebounds. If I can screw off that double-double, guys. That's how we get better at betting, all right? Play smarter, not stupid, all right? You want to take the odds that are going to help us. You know what? That's going to pretty much wrap it out for us. Let's look at three-pointers. Always a fun one to look at. These two teams kind of light it up. Brook Lopez over just to make 1 3, but it's at negative 240. He shoots it a lot. Another one, Cameron Payne, negative 225. Cameron Johnson over 1.5 plus 140. The guy broke the NCAA record, or he shot more in the season that he was there than anybody else. Bobby Portis over half. What's Booker's at? 2.5 plus 105 to make 3 threes. That's doable to me. Jay Crowder's over 2.5 at negative 113. Looking at some of the best odds right there. For Jay Crowder, he's a shooter. All right, guys, wrapping it up, man. I will be bringing a bet of the day later. It's probably going to be a double-double, just to let you know. But it's been really fun. I really appreciate you guys being out here and coming and joining us. And, I hope you enjoy the show. Remember to go check out the website, guys. Remember, we have the draft kit going. $10. It's going to be on all social platforms. It can help you out. Or you just join the charity league. I'm asking for 20. If you at least play 10 to help Kawasaki's disease right here. Affected my family. It affects a lot of families daily. One of the leading heart diseases in developed countries that nobody talks about. It's Kawasaki's disease, 100%, all going to Kawasaki's disease. And join the league, pay at least $10. I'll give you the draft kit for free. It's a 16-team conference. There's 4 of them. It is IDPs. If you've never played with IDPs, you'll love it. You'll love it. You'll love it. I promise. There's nothing not to like about it. All right. So there you have it. We're going to be wrapping it up real quick for you. Trying to... Well, you know what? We'll just wrap it up today like that, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, 5 days a week. Wednesday, we'll be bringing it for you. Let's see how this game 1 goes. Hit me up with any roster questions, any draft questions. I've had a couple people hit me up already this morning about their draft. Let's keep it going, baby. Remember, it's Iggy's Fantasy and Betting. We're on TikTok. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Getting more and more involved on Facebook. Go hit us up on there, guys. All right, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.